Wally Olins, the branding and corporate identity expert who masterminded the public face of corporate giants such as BT, Volkswagen and Renault, passed away at the age of 83 on the 14th of April. Wally was the chairman of Saffron Brand Consultants and former chairman of Wally Olins, and in the 60s was the chairman of Ogilvy and Mather, India. He authored many a book and was a self-confessed lover of India. He was also the mind behind the Tata rebranding. Brand Equity pays its tribute to Wally Olins.
I got involved in working for tourism for a country, and since then I've become very interested in the whole issue of the nation and the brand.
Wally had a strong influence on me. I met him first when I invited him as a speaker for Design Yatra, and my first impression of him was that he does not suffer fools easily.
I first got in touch with Wally way back in 1990, but that was not physically, that was through his book, Corporate Identity.
Wally and I go back a long way, in fact more than 50 years. It was in the mid-50s that I first met Wally, when he came to India as the managing director of an advertising agency, then known as S.H. Benson. And today, after evolving through many name changes, is what is called Ogilvy and Mather today.
I always remember him from when I was very young being a larger-than-life person who would never walk up the stairs, he would always run up the stairs. He always believed that the present was the most interesting and exciting time to live.
Wally was always a very, very informal. He was not one of your stodgy kind of managing directors or advertising people even. And also he had a tremendous sense of humor. So, I mean, you just had to look at his face, and even before he said a word, you had to burst out laughing. You know, that's the kind of person that Wally was.
For me, what was so amazing about Wally is that, just how very intelligent he was, and how sharp, and how he was so clear-headed, and he had this clarity of thinking.
What strikes me most is his absolute brutal frankness, his brevity of expression. Very, very stingy with his word. The 2 or 3 words that he would use as a reaction or an interjection would be far, far more valuable than possibly 100 that we would.
He had a very high level of interest in people, whether they were 5 years old or 85 years old. Age didn't matter to him. He was a brave man. He always used to say to clients, "You need to have the courage of my convictions," because often he was trying to get companies to change in ways that were quite frightening to them and quite radical.
We went and met a chairman of a company in India, and we were pitching for a job with them, and the chairman made us wait 40 minutes, and then he comes into the conference as if he's the most important guy and says, "Hey Wally, now let's talk about something." And Wally said, "It's my utmost displeasure meeting you," and he walked out of that meeting. And he later told me, "Rajesh, if people don't respect you and don't respect time, then there's no way you can do a good job for them, and you should never do a job for them."
He always said that he didn't want to retire, and he never did.